I had borrowers go late on payments, I had deals go sideways, and every single time one thing determined whether I got my money back or not. It was not luck, it was not the borrower's word, it was the structure I built into the deal before the first dollar ever moved. So today I want to show you what that structure looks like and what can happen step by step when a borrower stops paying. Here is the simplest way to understand private lending. You are the bank. So when someone gets a mortgage, right? Typically the bank lends that money, charges interest, and puts a lien on the property. So if the borrower stops paying, the bank has the legal right to take that property back. Private lending works the exact same way, except you are the bank. You lend the money, you earn the interest, and the loan is secured by the property, by real estate. So if the borrower stops paying and the loan is documented correctly, you may have similar rights to a bank, including the right to enforce your lien against the property. So most people do not know what those rights actually look in practice, so let me break this into two parts. Part number one, what protects your money before anything goes wrong, and second, what can happen step by step if a borrower defaults. The best time to protect your money is before you make the loan. And the single most important protection is the LTV. This is not a new television brand. The LTV is the loan to value ratio. When I structure a private loan, our investors are typically between 60 to 70% of the property value. So if a property is worth $300,000, the private lender working with me on the deal lends me no more than $210,000. That leaves $90,000 of equity as a cushion. That cushion is what protects you if values actually drop, if the borrower defaults, or if the property needs work before it can be sold. You are not lending dollar for dollar. The property is worth more than you lent against it. The interest rate you're getting might get your attention at first, but the LTV helps protect your capital. This is the number that matters most when you're doing private lending. Always be in the first lien position. This means your name is on the deed of trust or mortgage as the first lien holder who gets paid if the property is sold or foreclosed. If you are in second position and the first lender forecloses, you can get wiped out completely. Always be in the first position only. Where you stand in line matters. If someone offers you a second lien position with a higher rate, that rate may look attractive at first, but the risk is a different conversation entirely, and you need to have experience in this type of situations. I have seen firsthand here in Houston people losing millions of dollars of their capital on second and third lien positions, while the first lien holder was in a much stronger position to recover their capital. Real sad times for some of those investors, and you don't want to be in their shoes. Every private loan needs two things: a promissory note, which spells out the rate, the payment schedule, the term, and what happens if the borrower defaults. Also, a deed of trust, which is the lien that secures the loan against the property and give you the legal right to foreclose. Without it, you just have an unsecured promise. You also need title insurance and hazard insurance, and you close every deal at a title company or with a real estate attorney, not at your grandma's barbecue dinner. The title company or closing attorney will ensure the documents are properly recorded and documented before anything goes wrong. Private lending is not protected by good intentions. It is protected by clean documents and a proper closing. That is how you protect yourself before the loan starts. But that is the easy part. What you really want to know is what happens when things actually go wrong. Let me walk you through the process step by step. The borrower misses a payment. Here's what happens. Step 1, the grace period. Most loans have a 10 to 15 day grace period. If the borrower is a few days late, that is not yet a default. They pay a small late fee and catch up. Not a big deal. So step 2, the notice of default. If the borrower has not paid after the grace period, you or your attorney files a notice of default. This is an official document that says you are behind on payments and you need to fix this problem. The borrower may then have a reinstatement period to catch up. In a consumer world, right, many mortgage servicers generally cannot make the first notice or filing for foreclosure until the borrower is more than 120 days delinquent. In private lending, it's a different story. The timeline depends on the loan documents, the property, and the estate law. Step 3, the plan. Not every late payment leads to a foreclosure. In the real world, borrowers often find a way to resolve it. They sell the property, they refinance with another lender, or you work out a payment plan to get them back on track. Foreclosure is the last resort, not the first move. But if the borrower cannot or will not fix it, you then have to move forward. Step 4, foreclosure. This is where it actually matters what state you are in. In some states, foreclosure is judicial, meaning it goes through the court system and can take 6 to 12 months to get it resolved. In some other states, it's non-judicial foreclosure, meaning it happens outside of the court and can take 2 to 4 months. In Texas, where I invest, the process is often non-judicial. It can move faster than many court-based states. The legal notice timeline is often discussed as roughly 41 days in Texas once the required notices begin, but the exact timing depends on the documents, facts, and legal process. As a private lender, you need to know which state law applies to you before you make the loan, not after. You are the bank. You have the lien. The property secures your loan. Step 5, the 2 outcomes. Outcome number 1, if the property sells for enough at the foreclosure auction, the proceeds can pay back your loan, your accrued interest, your late fees, and your legal costs. Outcome 2, if no one buys it at the auction, you may end up with the deed. You might end up with the property. This is not the goal, but it gives you options. And this is exactly why conservative LTV actually matters. You can sell it, you can rent it, or renovate it and flip it. Even during the default process, your loan is still accruing interest, late fees, and default interest, which is typically higher than the original rate. That protection is built into the structure from day 1. And if you want to use a self-directed IRA, that same investment principles still matter. Conservative LTV, first lien position, and proper documentation. Just remember, retirement accounts also come with their own set of rules, so work with the right custodian and professionals. Let me tell you what I have actually seen. I have been doing this since 2012. Private lending, notes, fix and flips, and owner financing. Did I have borrowers go late? Yes. Did I have to go and work through defaults? Yes, it actually happens. But every single time, the structure I built into the deal before the first dollar move is what made the big difference. The LTV, the first lien position, the proper documentation, the structure is what protected my capital. Not luck, not a good relationship with the borrower, not hope, the structure. Trust is not the protection. The structure is the protection. When the stock drops to 0, what do you have? Nothing. When a company goes bankrupt, what do you have? Maybe pennies on the dollar if you are lucky. When a borrower defaults on your private loan, you have a house, you have a land, you have a building, a real physical asset you can see, touch, and then sell. That is the big difference. Private lending is not risk-free, nothing is, but it is one of the few investments where your capital is secured by something real, where you have legal recourse if things go wrong. So, is private lending safe? When it's done right, I believe it can be one of the more conservative ways to earn passive income through real estate. The key is lending in a conservative way, staying in first position and building protection into every deal from the start. If this was helpful, please subscribe to the channel. I am going to be covering private lending, note investing, and how to use your IRA for real estate, all based on real experience, no hype. Drop a comment below if you have questions about private lending or if there's a specific topic you want me to cover next. I read every comment. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and happy investing.